And it was bumper to bumper trying to get out. Everybody, it's just at a gridlock in that area. So people were just trying to ram whichever direction they could to get out and make it onto the highway. They were one of many vehicles that had families and loved ones and just community members stuck inside that couldn't make it out, and they just were all stuck and found that way.
Have you sounded the siren that night? We're afraid that people would have gone Malka. And if that was the case, then they would have gone into the fire. And so that is the reason why our protocol has been to use WEA and EAS.
Why would the sirens not go off?
So every first of the month, which is correct, we have the tsunami drill. And we all know it, we all hear it. We've heard it since we were youngsters. Every first of the month, without fail, it would signal.
Anyone who's lost a loved one whose home has been damaged or destroyed is going to get help immediately.
For Biden to feel like it's his best political move to send funds to Ukraine, for what?
Lincoln J reporting for Rebel News on Maui Island in Hawaii. Now, I'm sure many of you are aware that the town of Lahaina, a population of roughly 13,000 people, was completely destroyed by a fire on the 8th of August. Approximately 2,000 structures were destroyed, with 86% of them being residential. Many lives were lost that day, and the official death count is still undetermined. The question on many people's mind is the fact that no sirens were sounded in order to get people evacuated. The only notifications residents received was through a text message alert. We've been on the ground here in Lahaina for a few days now, and it seems like everybody that we speak to either knows somebody that is missing or somebody that has unfortunately passed away. I had the opportunity to speak with a local from Lahaina. She recounts the horror of that day and questions what could have been done to prevent the lives lost that day. Before we get into the interview, guys, if you want to check out all of our coverage from Maui, you can visit our website, thetruthaboutmaui.com. You can check out all of our coverage through that website. And if you appreciate that coverage, if you just want to help us get by and offset our travel costs, you can consider chipping in through that same website.
We saw all the black smoke where we live. We could see the black smoke from a distance, and it was really heavy, thick black smoke. We thought we were going to be okay, so we stayed for a little bit, but there was a lot of cars trying to get out of our neighborhood. My daughter-in-law was in the midst of it, so she evacuated, came running with her kids, my grandkids, to us for safety. But by the time she came to us, it looked like it was more, coming towards our direction. So she went further north. But it was just a lot of chaos with the cars on the roads. There was no direction from anyone. Nobody was out there, no help, no police, no firemen, nothing was out there to help direct traffic or to let anybody know it's time to evacuate. So we all went back in the house, had dinner. It wasn't until almost 8, I want to say, 7:30, 8 o'clock was when we heard the loudspeakers telling us to evacuate. So in our area where we live, that was Wahikuli Road, on that street, that area. That's when we heard the loudspeakers for us to evacuate. It was between 7:45, 8 o'clock. So by that point, then we loaded up our bags and we got in the vehicles and we drove to the Civic Center. By 8:30, we were told to evacuate there. And we went from there to Times over here on this Times store. And then we stayed there. We got there about 10 o'clock and we've just been there. We there for till the next morning.
What does your situation look like? Did you lose your home, or can you just talk to us a little bit about that?
Yeah, so the area that we're in is a place called Wahikuli in Lahaina. And we were, I guess, one of the fortunate ones to have our house still standing, one of the 3 houses that are still standing on our corner. Everything else around us kind of is gone, and that is very unfortunate. But we still have no access to it, so they've barricaded where we can't go in because they have to still clear it out. There's a lot of fumes and toxic in the air, so we're still here, one of the displaced families. We were able to have minutes, enough time for us to grab our papers and our IDs and a couple pair of clothing and make it out before we were before we had to leave that area.
Have you been able to go back to your neighborhood and see what it's like after the fire?
So we have. We actually went back the following day to see what, if our house was still standing and what the damages were. And we were shocked to see that it was still standing. But we were able to gather more clothes. And what we did was, when we went back, our goal was to get as much things as we could to bring back and donate. So we went and we loaded up the trucks with clothing and food and just, hygienic stuff just to come and bring and donate to the drop-off centers. Yeah, so that was our goal the following. That's what we did. It saddens me. Lahaina has always been a very beautiful, beautiful place to be. And the community here is strong, and it's just to see the destruction, it's just so sad, and to see and hear of all the lives lost. And we've lost an uncle of mine and my aunt and my cousin, their daughter and her son in the fire. And that's just, there's been so much that could have been done to prevent it, or to my understanding, it didn't have to happen that way. If they had ample warning, if they had just any kind of siren, regardless if it was a tsunami siren, any kind of siren, anything to just alert the people. Because my daughter-in-law was saying, as she was rushing out of her house, before that, while she was putting her babies in the vehicle, she could feel the heat on her back. And that was on Lahaina Luna Road. So where they live, they could feel the heat. And that was about midway of Lahaina Luna Road. If she could feel it, all the people below them where they were coming out they were coming out to the streets and just wondering what's going on. They had no idea to evacuate. They were just watching all these cars driving past, trying to figure out why is everybody rushing out of Lahaina Luna. They had no warning. So if, some kind of alarm went off, these people wouldn't be coming out and looking and asking, everybody running past what's going on. They would have been like, wait, that's an alarm. Something's going on. We got to move, evacuate.
I'm so sorry to hear about your family. Do you know if they made any attempt to escape? Like, what happened?
So from my understanding, which, it's limited. It's, from what I've heard from my family members, was that they were escaping. They were leaving their home on Lower Lahaina Luna, and they were in the vehicle, and it was bumper to bumper trying to get out. Everybody, it's just at a gridlock in that area. So people were just trying to ram whichever direction they could to get out and make it onto the highway. They were one of many vehicles that had families and loved ones and just community members stuck inside that couldn't make it out, and they just were all stuck and found that way in that row of cars stuck on Lahaina Luna Road, or that street into Lahaina Luna Road. So it's very sad to have to go that way, but to know that all of them, if they had warning, they could have made it safely. We had somewhat of, we had warning, so we were able to make it out. And it just saddens me that a lot of these people are kupuna, are old elderly, and are the little babies, the kids that have lost their lives or have, lost family members and loved ones are now, it's just sad.
Why? It seems like that would be the very least that they could do. They have the sirens in place. I've heard that they test the sirens at the first of every month. Why would the sirens not go off?
So every first of the month, which is correct, we have the tsunami drill, and we all know it. We all hear it. We've heard it since we were youngsters. Every first of the month, without fail, it would signal. And in fact, growing up in all the schools, in our schools, we would have tsunami drills. We would have fire drills. All of that stuff.
Had we sounded the siren that night, we're afraid that people would have gone Malka. And if that was the case, then they would have gone into the fire. And so that is the reason why our protocol has been to use WEA and EAS.
Or for whoever to say that was responsible for it, that they made the choice not to sound it because they didn't want everyone going up, because that's where the fire was coming from, to me is ridiculous. If there was some kind of sound, at least people would have came out hearing the sound, because all the people or, family members that were in the house sleeping or, with the doors closed, AC on, radio blasting, whatever, you can hear the siren over that. If that was even made known or people were to realize that if the siren were to have actually gone off, if it were me, I would jump up and come on, see, okay, siren, see the smoke. Okay, you guys, let's go, let's evacuate. There was nothing, and for them to make the excuse that they didn't want people going higher up, that's not an excuse. That's really, really, really unacceptable.
I don't want to make this a political thing, and feel free not to answer, but does it make you feel any way that President Joe Biden, he'll send X amount of dollars to Ukraine, but it seems like with the people of Lahaina,
Right.
kind of, I know he's coming on Monday, but a lot of people have expressed to us that they feel like he could do more, the federal government could do more. Do you have any comment on that?
I don't think he could do more. I think he should do more. It's his responsibility, for Biden to feel like it's his best political move to send funds to Ukraine for what?
Anyone who's lost a loved one whose home has been damaged or destroyed is going to get help immediately.
This, they claim, is part of America. Granted, it's stolen lands. This, they claim, is America. So why aren't you taking care of what you claim to be in charge of, rather than sending out all these funds and whatever else you guys are sending to Ukraine or anywhere? Take care of here first. This, I don't see why any president wouldn't step up and take care of what's part of their, territory. I think it's a stupid move on his part. Biden, yeah, he's an idiot. Sorry. No, not sorry. Everyone stick together, and Lahaina's a strong community. My hope, and I pray that everyone is safe and come together strong, and don't let them take your land. Just don't sell. They want everybody to sell so that they can come in and just take over, and that's not what we want. We want Lahaina to stay Lahaina. We want Maui to stay Maui. Just stay here. Don't go. Don't sell. Don't be scared. The government needs to step up. There's a lot of help out there. There's a lot of local families coming together. We can help too. Whatever way we can. I just want to make sure that you guys are aware that there's always help out there, and don't feel helpless. They are doing it on purpose so that you guys can sell the land. Do not sell your property. Camp out on your property if you have to, but we are going to rebuild. We're going to come back strong.
Thanks so much for watching, guys. If you want to check out all of our coverage, visit thetruthaboutmaui.com. You can see all of our reports through that website. And if you'd like to help offset our travel costs, again, just to help us get by, you can consider making a small donation through that website. Thank you, guys.